All right, everybody, welcome to the realm. Gina's off this week, taking care of some business. So I'm Rich. I'm going to run the soiree today. Who else we got with us today?
I'm Jen.
I'm Rob.
I'm Brian.
All right, guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in, everybody out there in Radio Land or Podcast Land, whichever it is. Appreciate you being here. Today, we're going to talk about pet cemeteries. We talked about this, I think, last year a little bit. We started to do a episode on it, but it didn't turn out properly. So we threw it back into the rotunda of episodes that we have this year, and this is the one that's coming up because we're doing obviously. What is this, Brian? Scaretober? Is that what we're calling this?
Yeah.
Is that what Scaretober? Yeah, that's that what I came
Scaretober.
up with. Sounds like something
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like it. So every week we're doing scary, spooky, Halloween type episodes, or they might have a far-fetched tie-in, like a Pet Cemetery, I guess, would have. But I mean, I think when you hear Pet Cemetery, I think most people think of the movie immediately. I don't know. I guess there's no other reason why you wouldn't. Your brain wouldn't go right to the movie because that's what's the pop culture thing. You're not thinking, oh, a place where you're going to bury your pet. Obviously, we've all had pets. We've all had pets that passed, and everybody takes care of them a little differently. Whether you're going to the vet or you're burying them in the backyard, or I mean, some people may have even used some of these services that we're going to talk about here because I didn't know a lot about them when I brought the topic up. Just like everybody else, I kind of just was feeding off of the Pet Cemetery movie vibe until I started looking into it. And, there's a lot of them scattered across the world, actually. We'll touch on a couple of the bigger ones that are just in the United States. I'll just mention a couple of ones that were like kind of the first ones, and they were like in London and Paris, stuff like that. But
when you say that there's some of these pet cemeteries all over the world,
Mhm.
are we talking about, are we including the one at the exit of the Haunted Mansion? If you're at Disney World, if you're at Disneyland, it's before that. But are we considering that, or are you talking about many locations that have some sort of a supernatural element to them
I'm not so
that are
sure about
supposedly?
supernatural element. I'm not so sure about that. And when I researched these the way I did, I kind of searched for haunted locations in pet cemeteries, and you don't get a lot of information that's out there that I could find that said the Hartsdale Pet Cemetery, for instance, that's in New York, is one of the big ones, one of the early ones that dates back from 1896. There's nothing that says at this location they see this or this. I couldn't find anything that said there's a spooky one at the edge of town. That you got to go past the real pet cemetery and go through the brush.
Yeah, this
There's no
is
to the
What
to the
about
Indian
Nevada?
to the Indian burial ground. There's nothing like that.
right.
I didn't find.
So people who are familiar with the movie, because like you said, it's probably a lot of people's way in when they hear Pet Cemetery. I mean, again, there's other pet cemeteries that people have, but when you think of like a spooky, scary one, you're thinking of that movie or the book. And because in that movie, like you just said, it's not even the pet cemetery, it's at the edge of a freaking cliff for a Indian burial ground that has nothing to do with the pet cemetery, but it's past it. Are the ones that you're kind of referencing tonight, are these ones that have any kind of Native American anything to them, or what's kind
Um,
of the basis,
well,
or what
some of
are
that.
people expecting to get out of them?
Well, many human cultures buried their animal remains since the beginning of time. Ancient Egyptians would mummify and bury cats. You know
Oh yeah.
how important the cats were to the
Oh yeah.
Egyptians. You know,
Yeah.
And
um,
to me,
yeah,
I will mummify my
I
cats.
I as well. And off the topic, Rob, I was informed today that there's a cat show
Hmm.
in Racine. And I didn't
Who's
know about
that?
that. And I was taken aback that I was not aware that there was a cat show coming up. So
Oh, we'll have to talk about that.
yeah, because I mean, like, holy crap, you know. I mean, I'm there, front row and center. I mean, anyway, but moving on. We were talking about the Egyptians and their cats. You know, cats were some of the earliest pets that they would find, and you're finding them, you know, more like in Israel. You're finding them in different areas like that, Siberia. Um, arche- archaeological archaeologists. Oh my god,
Archaeologists.
archaeologists. Pardon me, my God. I remember the last time I used that word. They have found dogs that were buried beside humans in Siberia as many as 8,000 years ago. So, and
They
that's also what's that?
bury out horses with warriors.
Sure, sure,
Mhm.
sure. And I think we're going to talk about, we're going to touch on briefly one of these um, cemeteries that I found that's in America does have has a horse buried there. So, um, you're also going to find that a lot of the animals that are referenced in these locations are celebrity animals or pets of politicians or celebrities. Those are the ones that highlight the list of where these pets are.
So when you say celebrities, you mean the pets of celebrities, not
And
like
some
Air
celebrity
Bud
pets.
and Lassie and stuff like that.
Yes, yes, yes. It's a kind of a cross
Okay.
between, you get a little bit of
Flipper.
everything. You get a little bit of
Okay.
everything there. Um, London's Hyde Park was the site of an informal pet cemetery from 1881 to 1903 in the Gatekeeper's Garden. So that dates back to one of the first ones where people started to put them into an area with mini headstones to kind of, memorialize their pets. Um, it closed officially in 1903, and the Royal Marines mascot dog Prince was buried there in 1967. So,
Hmm.
that was, it wasn't open officially for a very long time, 1881 to 1903, but and they have over 300 burials there. I mean, that's a lot
Hamsters.
of animals or pets per se. I mean, if they're not just taking squirrels there and burying them, these are people that have a pet that they want to bury. I mean, and I looked for localized locations. I couldn't find anything anywhere around here that was localized as a pet cemetery. Thinking, that'd be kind of cool to go check it out. Or
Thought I saw something about one in Chicago. I know I
I
was looking at like a couple of these articles, and one from the Chicago Tribune was talking about how Egyptians buried hippos and crocodiles alongside their
sure,
dogs and
sure,
cats.
sure,
And
yeah, they everything, yeah.
you wonder, was that a sentimental thing, or was there a different reason behind
We got to
burying?
think back then. It was probably more of either worshiping of worship of something, or for some type of I mean, you're talking ancient Egyptians. I mean, they had
well, getting hippos into a grave must have been quite a feat. Now it
I
Yeah.
says here that there's one in Franksville
see, but I don't think it
and
really
there's one in
is.
Union Grove.
But I think if you try to look at it, it actually comes up as like a crematorium. I don't know that it actually comes up as actually a place where you go to bury your pets, because I found the same thing when I looked, but I didn't look this time. I looked last year when I was doing research, and I just remember that because it said there was like one in Racine. I'm like, where the hell is this at? And then when I narrowed down what it was like a veterinarian crematorium or something.
Vernon Hills, or not Vernon Hills, Vernon Township, Illinois. It even shows the pictures of the headstones.
Really?
See,
What is it? What's it called?
it is called Arrowwood Pet Cemetery, 2 A's in Arrowwood. Pet Cemetery, Vernon Township, Illinois. 3.4 stars.
Well, I guess that's good to have.
on 16 reviews. Yeah, but if you look, there's the 1-star review. It's pretty loaded there. Somebody really was not happy.
Well, and I bet you get a lot of that. You know, just like with anything nowadays, everybody's unhappy about everything. So all it takes is for you to look at somebody wrong, and you're getting. Oh, okay, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't see this one come up when I looked. Since 1975.
Oh,
Nice. Very interesting. Yeah, there's all the headstones and where does it say the location? How far away is that from here? I'd be interested to
When I click on what I
know.
looked at when the website, it takes me to Memorial Planning Willow Lawn Memorial Park,
Mhm.
which I don't know what that is in relationship. Oh, there it is. They're one and the same. There must be right next to each other.
Interesting. Very cool.
Yeah, this does say Vernon Hills, but the other one said Vernon Township.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Very cool. Thank you, Rob, for that. Appreciate that. That's what I mean. You start looking at stuff and you start finding different things, and um, that's really cool to know that there's one that is that close. I know around here, I think the closest thing we have there's that uh, cemetery downtown by the old fire station where they buried the dogs,
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
fire
Dalmatians.
service dogs.
Dalmatians, yeah, the fire dogs. So I mean, I guess that would count. I guess sorta. I mean, I don't think there's no headstones or anything like that. I think they just have a plaque that's right there by the fence that tells you that. Um, that location is said to be haunted as well. That you can hear the dogs barking or something like that.
Mhm.
I think it's something we checked out in a previous lifetime.
We did, but I don't think that we heard any dogs barking. But you're in the middle of town too, so
You're
Yeah,
right.
hard.
makes it a
Yeah.
little bit difficult.
Yeah, I think that'd be one of those things where you have to live somewhere close there and hear it all the time, to look all the time to see that there's nothing or to be able to verify it. Spending a half hour there's you're not going to get any concrete
No, there were a lot of
answer.
spiders, so yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, yeah. Spiders. I don't do spiders. Yeah, I don't like spiders at all. I don't like bats.
Bats are adorable.
Yeah, bats. There's nothing wrong with bats.
Okay, till they're chasing you around on the fourth floor of Ashmore Estates at midnight. Yeah.
Someday I'll find that video. I will post
Oh,
it.
I pray you don't. I'm sure our fans don't want to see me crouch down doing the army
Well,
crawl.
I don't think there's sound on it, so they won't hear you scream. That's for sure.
That might be worse. At least if there was sound, they can understand what I was doing. Without the sound, they're like, "What the hell's this guy doing?" But yeah, that no. Anyway, so I wish there was something a little closer to us that we could check out. That'd be pretty cool. But like I said, when I did look, a lot of things crossed over to crematoriums. So I
Well,
wasn't sure
Vernon
how.
Hills is only a half hour away.
Is it really only a half hour?
Yeah,
I
about
have to check
30,
that
40.
out.
That's where Amy works. She works in Vernon Hills.
Oh, I thought you meant she worked at the cemetery.
I wish.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm curious. You see pictures when you Google it or look it up online, and they kind of look like a regular cemetery. You got the headstones and everything, but you got to think it's got to be on a more miniature scale. I would assume. I can't imagine that it takes
You
up.
think they make little tiny tombstones for little tiny animals?
I
Yeah,
bet they do.
yeah, yeah, I do.
They do. I think if I remember right, when I read the last time, I tried looking for my notes and I couldn't find them. But I was reading somewhere where they actually gave the price. It might actually be on one of these other locations that I'm going to pop up here in a minute.
Good
The
Lord,
actual
these are huge tombstones.
the prices of how they go about pricing a plot. As opposed like we were talking a horse being buried as opposed to a goldfish being buried. Different things like that. Um, America's largest and oldest pet cemetery, as I said earlier, is Hartsdale Pet Cemetery in Hartsdale, New York, and it dates back to 1896 when there was a veterinarian. Back to the veterinarian thing. that was working out of Manhattan offered to let a grieving pet owner bury her dog in his yard in an apple orchard, and she wanted to bury the animal, and he said, "Yeah, here you can bury your animal here." Um, Today, it's the final resting place for more than 70,000
Oof.
70,000 animals.
Holy moly!
I mean, yeah, I'm going to bring that up on my screen here in a minute to look at the pictures on it, and you guys can do the same if you'd
That
like.
Hartsdale? Did you say?
Hartsdale Pet Cemetery in Hartsdale, New York. The site is listed now on the National Register of Historic Places since 2012. Some of the famous American pets, some
Oh wow, yeah. Look at that.
some American pet cemeteries also include, besides the Hartsdale one, there's an Aspen Hill Memorial Park in Maryland, and there's a pet memorial cemetery in California, and that one in California has Hopalong Cassidy's horse, Topper,
Wow.
Steven Spielberg's Jack Russell Terrier,
Hmm.
and Rudolph Valentino's dog are some of the famous pet owners buried there. Like I said, you got a little bit of, Steven Spielberg's Jack Russell Terrier wasn't a star, but he's the star that's located, associated with that. So you get a lot of that. Now, as opposed to the horse, his horse, I believe Topper, if you look at back in the movies and stuff, that's his horse, so very interesting.
Pretty amazing looking cemetery.
Yeah, I'm bringing that one up right now. The
The one in New York.
Hartsdale. Yeah, let's
That's
bring Hartsdale up.
a lot of tombstones happening there.
And you almost get like, I get a zoo vibe from it when you look at the pictures. You got the entrance gate, and I guess maybe because when you go to the zoo, they always have these plaques up that are telling you information that you need to know or be concerned about if this animal's gonna gets out in your town where you live, if you need to stay inside, if it likes, raw meat, or if it likes little dogs,
Human
keep the
meat.
little dogs inside, things like that. But yeah, 70, what does it say? It was
7.
established in 1896, over 70,000
Oh, I'm sorry, New York.
interments with 14 interment lots and 7,000 memorials. It has a groundskeeper cottage, a house, a public memorial to dogs of war, a mausoleum, a man-made and natural topographical attributes. It is America's largest and oldest pet cemetery, as I said before. So,
What did you say the name of it was?
of what?
The Pet
This
Cemetery in California.
The one in California is called Pet Memorial Cemetery. It's called.
They didn't put a lot of time into that name, did they?
No, no, and there was a lot of them when I looked up last time that popped up, and they had a little bit of information on each and every one of them, but these couple main ones here, like I was saying, um, that Hartsdale one, that one, the most notable interment is the Ming of Harlem, and I believe that's a lion or a tiger, if I remember properly. Ming was a tiger that became notable when he was found living in an apartment in Harlem, New York, in October 2003. He was 3 years old at the time of his capture and lived semi-openly with his owner, Antone Yates. Looks like he died in 2019, but so out of 70,000, that's one of the most notable internments. So I'm not sure that there's anything other than you got a lot of people that are taking their pets and getting them buried at a pet cemetery.
Oh,
You can see where Stephen King got his ideas from
if you're,
loosely for the movie.
um, there's some interesting pictures. If you look at this haunted pets, it's supposed to be haunted. Haunted Pet Cemetery in Nevada.
Yeah, I think that was one I looked at. Yeah,
Yeah, the pictures are really,
yeah.
really cool for that.
And the thing I found with it, a lot of it, the stuff was like weird stuff, and it was there was not really any proof to it. It was just something that. Because I think one of them was like there was like a you got to go someplace, and kind of almost like the Pet Cemetery of the movie. It wasn't like right out in the open. You had to go through a lot to get to the area. And when you got to the area, I think it showed a picture of it. It was like either just a field or it was just
Well,
wooded area. You
did,
know,
did we talked on another show about this, about souls, and if we thought that animals had souls, and I didn't know how I felt about that. Animals and their sense of awareness, and if they have a soul, because you hear people talk about they believe and they have spirits of animals in their house, but you don't really see like people talking about ghost dogs unless they're werewolves, or you know what I mean. But then again, I guess there's just not a lot of pet cemeteries now that we're looking at that.
right now it's funny you mentioned that because I think the location that we're going to be investigating this coming up weekend with TRPD. I believe there's supposedly a spirit of a cat that is supposed to be seen and felt and heard at this said location. So
Well, I hope it sleeps with me.
I'm looking forward to it. They say you can feel it. You can feel it actually jump up when it jumps like up on like on your lap, or like if you're on a bed, you could feel something on the bed jump up. You feel the bed move. You can feel something rubbing up against your leg. That's some of the claims. Anyway, so I don't know that we've. I think there was one. I think there was one time many moons ago that I was at a location investigating, and I I would swear that there was a cat in the room that I was in with the person that I was
Hmm.
investigating. It was one of my I think it was one of my first investigations I did, so, 10, 11, whatever odd years ago. And it was weird because we have cats. You guys all know how they act, the noises they make, you know.
Right.
I was sitting down in a basement on a couch or a bed. I don't remember what if it was, maybe it was a bed, but it kept feeling like there was something running under the bed and doing that thing where they run and then they paw real fast, or they do different things with
Hmm.
their when they're going to stretch and they grab something. You can hear it, and you can hear that padding. I kept hearing these noises, and I had to ask because that was one of their claims, is they said that there was a cat that they thought was there running around, and I had to ask
Hmm.
twice. I said, "You sure you don't have a cat?" And no, we don't have a cat. I'm like, I couldn't
Hmm.
couldn't figure it
That's
out or put my
interesting.
finger on it, but the sounds that I was hearing, and it sounded like it. The first thing, if someone would have told me there wasn't a cat there, I would have just assumed there was a cat there. So it was really weird. It was weird.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I I'm all for the ghost animal thing when we go someplace. I'm all for listening to that, and because when pets are with you, you always hear about how they're more in tune to the paranormal or the supernatural. You'll
Right.
hear people talk about how their pets won't go down the stairs, or they won't go upstairs, or they don't like this person, or they stand and stare in the corner of the room. You hear that a lot. And even on some of the shows on TV, they use animals for helping with the investigations. So
Are you insinuating we should bring our cats next weekend?
I would do that, but no, probably shouldn't. It might get crazy up in there. So who knows?
It might get
It
crazy.
might be crazy up in this place. Um, let's take a quick look at the Aspen Hill Memorial Park. That's in Maryland. That one has quite a few. That one there, when you look at some of the pictures, that looks pretty much like a cemetery you would think for humans. When look at the pictures I see there, nothing too creepy about it, other than there's a lot of the stones that are shaped like animals. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. I think it's not too creepy. Um, Stephen King did a really good job of making his Pet Cemetery creepy looking, the way it was set up. And, you don't see any of that in any of these pictures where there's some weird circular setup or there's different, there's posts with skulls or any, you know what I mean? There's nothing like that. They're very, very dignified, very humanely done.
Share a picture with us.
There, can you see it now?
Oh yeah. Look
Oh
at that.
yeah.
So if you look, it looks pretty much just like a regular
Except for that Sphinx in the middle, right up front there.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this,
Yeah, there's a really elaborate headstone. It is. It does look like a little Sphinx statue.
almost looks like maybe it's a
That's
great
pretty
Dane
ornate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in style.
Where's this one located?
This
'Cause
one
it
is
sure
in
looks
Maryland.
Midwest.
This is what's that?
It sure looks Midwest. Where's it at?
It's Maryland.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Aspen Hill Memorial Park. It's actually in Maryland. But yeah, it looks very similar to just a regular cemetery.
Yeah, you could just drive right by that.
And you know what? I
not
wonder how
even
many times
question it.
we've driven by one and didn't even know.
Yeah.
Just went, oh, cemetery. I mean, very possible. That was pretty cool. I could do that.
It was.
That's awesome. Now I know how to do that. I'm gonna be sharing everything.
Right. Right. We should probably do that more. Probably look nicer on the
Yeah, we can do that.
YouTube.
All right, let's see who some of our special guest residents are at this location. We have J. Edgar Hoover's dog, and several other dogs that belong to him are buried in the same plot. So it's a hodgepodge of dogs in that plot there. Speedy Bozo was his name.
Mhm.
I don't even want to touch that one. Rags. Name sound familiar to anybody? U.S. First Infantry Division's mascot dog during World War One.
Hmm.
Yeah. So Rags is buried there. Let's see. General Grant of RKO, also known as Jigs. He was misidentified in the 60s as being Petey, not the parakeet, from Our Gang film series. He was briefly owned by Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Our gang.
Huh?
Our gang?
Yeah, the Little Rascals, their dog.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
Yep,
Okay.
he was misidentified as being that dog when it wasn't that dog.
Okay.
So the actual dog, this General Grant of RKO Jigs or whatever, was actually English Bulldog. And as we all know, Petey was an American pit bull terrier. So not the same dog. Napoleon. Some of these names, they had
Napoleon's dog is there?
No.
Oh,
Did it have
damn.
one paw?
Napoleon,
Yeah.
the weather prophet of Baltimore.
Hmm.
Napoleon was a white Persian cat. And whenever Napoleon switched from sleeping on his side to sleeping on his stomach with his paws on either side of his head, it would rain within 24 hours. Believe it or not. Oh, no.
Believe it.
That's their story.
He was
Huh?
a weather
That's their
dog.
story, and they're sticking to it. No, that's why he was the weather prophet. And you know what? Beanie's a Persian cat. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll just let him.
It's
We'll
like
let him have
Punxsutawney
that
Phil.
one. Yeah. What?
He's like Punxsutawney Phil.
Yeah. Pan to the rodent. Where's he at?
Pan to the rodent. Where is he?
No. All right. Let's go over to the cat. All right. Well, that's the way I pictured it in my head.
Good.
You gotta put Bill Murray in there.
You got to put Bill Murray, and then it works.
Yeah, he's got to be in there. And the last one that is more of a notable, so they say, I don't know that I can tell you that I've heard of any of these animals before, pets, but Gypsy was a capuchin monkey of Eddie Bernstein.
Wow.
He was a legless panhandler, Eddie, not the cat, frequented the upscale shopping district of Northwest Washington, D.C. for over 40 years, starting in the mid-1930s. Gypsy, the capuchin, died in 1976 and was buried in Aspen Hill.
Wow.
3 years later, Eddie died unexpectedly in Florida. Eddie was the panhandler, not the monkey. It
I
was
thought you were going to say
discovered.
3 years later, the monkey came back to life
Oh,
and tried
well,
to kill the
that's.
panhandler.
Well, let's
Oh,
see. Wait a minute.
monkeys. That's
76.
horrible.
76. No, Pet Cemetery was 89. So
We
I
should
was
write
trying
a
to do the
movie
math
about
there.
that. Somebody buries a pet at a cemetery, it comes back. Oh, wait.
No, wait, that was done.
See, but the difference is ours would actually be a pet cemetery. It would just be one of these nice ones and it would happen. There would be no cursed land or anything like that. Totally different.
Yeah, I never even heard of a pet cemetery until the movie came out.
No,
Right.
I
And
agree.
Yeah, we used to just take them out in the field behind the house, and that's how we got rid of them.
Yeah,
Nameless graves back there. Now that I think about it,
and I think when you watch the movie and you see that graveyard for the first time, I think that's etched in your head. There was actually parts in that movie that when I saw the parts, I remembered them. I didn't remember the whole movie, but there were certain parts I went, "Oh, that's this movie." Like all of a sudden, it came back that's where I had heard or seen part of whatever it was. I was like, "Oh, okay, it was this movie." Now, I'm not so sure about part 2 or the new ones. I think we saw the new one.
I didn't see it. I
Couldn't tell
looked
you
at
much on that.
as I was scanning through movies last night to watch. I did see that.
There is a new one now that just came out like
Yes,
last week. I might watch that and give it
oh,
a
that's
shot,
right.
but just to
I don't.
watch it
Yeah,
to
I
see
think
what
it
it is,
was direct to video kind of thing, right? It didn't. It
like
wasn't at the
Paramount or
show.
something like that. Yeah, it wasn't like in the movie theater. I mean, I don't mind watching some of that stuff after the fact just to see what it is, what it's about, and then
The further
we can talk
away
about it. So
the further away Stephen King's involvement with the project is, the better it's going to be. So you have to check that new one to see. Well, we just lost Stephen King as a listener now. Sorry, everybody, but
He was, there goes our sponsorship with Stephen
there
King.
it goes. Yeah, we didn't need him.
Oh.
But
You don't
the
need
further
no
away,
Stephen King.
no, he thinks that his shitty version of The Shining is better than the Kubrick ones. That shows you how he feels about stuff. But the further removed he is, I bet you it could be okay.
yeah, he's definitely not coming. Probably
He is,
lost half his
yeah.
family now too.
This is the last episode Stephen King will listen to. He was our biggest fan.
I know. Yeah. I mean, Fred Gwynn is in the first one, and he's the best part of the movie. Is
Yeah,
just being able to watch him.
and if he was going to call in right now, what would he tell us, Brian?
I don't know. Is he?
Come on.
Do we have him? So
You would,
I hear you doing the podcast, yeah. Oh, you shouldn't be doing those podcasts, eh? Back in my day, we didn't have any podcasts. Oh, we had that Pet Cemetery though. Don't go up there. Yep. Go back and listen to your podcast. Stay away from that Pet Cemetery.
All right. Well, thanks
think he
there
may have
for
said
the
something
Thanks,
heads up.
Herman.
wasn't it more like being dead is better?
Yeah.
Sometimes being
Something
dead
about-
is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
It's
Just a brief-
I like. It's actually the Stephen King movie that I like besides The Shining.
Right,
I actually
but
like
you
the
like
movie.
Then
I
it
thought
gets-
it was-
you like the real Shining though.
Wasn't that the one with his the Pet Cemetery? Is that the one with his sister? Is that the sister with the jaundice in the room?
yes.
Yeah, she has
Back
meningitis.
issues.
That was horrifying.
Yeah,
was
that
very-
was
very
terrifying to
scary.
look at, but it's also not accurate when you look up that affliction. That's not what it is. But
Okay,
it looks scary.
We're in a fictional movie.
Yeah, and it never became clear to me after watching it how fictional it was, because there was a lot of subplotting and a lot of different things going on in that movie that had nothing to do with that cemetery. You basically had a cat the whole movie, and at the end you had the little kid
Yep.
that went in there, and he was the funniest part after he was a
Has
zombie.
anybody read the book?
I want to play with you.
No?
No.
That's his...
I haven't either.
No. What are you
I've
trying to
tried
find out
I've
if
tried to make
it
it
kind
through
of
Stephen King books, but
see how close they are?
they're,
That's what you're trying to get at?
no. I just want a dirt. He's boring. Sorry, Stephen. He's boring.
Thank you. he signed off on the movie. That, and again, which
He does that
you,
with all
Rob,
his
you
movies, though. Every one of his
no,
movies, he does.
well, not with the Kubrick Shining. That was the problem with that, is he didn't like that so much was changed from his story, and that's what made the movie good. Because then when Stephen King came back and made like his miniseries movie of The Shining, and he had complete control over it, that's a drizzling shit. It was terrible.
I
But
have
but
not
but if
seen
you
it.
ask him, you have to. It's funny to watch it because it's his story. It's what the actual thing is supposed to be. The actual story, not the good story that was presented to us, because it
Well,
wasn't what he.
I
Boy,
know
I'm really
the
bagging on him.
only
Boy, I hope he doesn't listen.
similarities to the Lawnmower Man book and the movie is that they both have
Yeah,
a horror
that's
movie. That's about it.
yes,
I hate to
yeah.
break the news to everybody, but Stephen King was going to be our special guest next week.
You wanna-
You fuck that up. He's not coming
Yeah,
on
he's-
now.
On my phone right now, he's saying, "Yeah, I'm out."
That's too bad. I'm sure he's busy not being
Listening to our
entertaining
podcast.
someplace else.
He was
Not
busy
Yeah.
listening to our podcast.
Not
So
anymore.
Brian, you brought up the Pet Cemetery at Disneyland.
Yeah.
I went looking for like haunted pet cemeteries, and I found like a list of 10 haunted
Uh-huh.
pet cemeteries, and one was the semi-secret Pet Cemetery of Disneyland.
See,
Pet Cemetery
see.
used to be a secret. What do you know about that? It's all it says on here is that it's only visible to those who utilize the wheelchair ramp into the main foyer of the haunted mansion. How'd
Are
you
they
know?
saying for the Disneyland one?
That is
No,
correct.
the Disneyland one in the entrance queue, it was moved. Let's do
Was
Haunted
it a?
Mansion
I'm not. I've never been to any Disney
Cemetery.
anything before.
Mhm.
I haven't
It
even
does
been
say
to
a
Disney
new
on
pet
Ice.
cemetery
So
was
is
built
this
near the front
Is
entrance.
this an attraction or is it a real thing?
No, it's an attraction. The haunted mansion is the attraction at both.
No, I meant the cemetery.
Well, I think it's part of the
It's part
attraction.
of it's part of the. So Rob, the way that, because you haven't been to Disney?
Oh,
No, I'm poor. I didn't grow up with rich people and stuff. So.
I'm poor too, but that's because of going to Disney.
well, we just lost Disney now. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, they know it.
Oh,
They know it.
they're okay with it.
So what they do, Rob, when what makes it worth it is because they're such great storytellers and themers. So for the Haunted Mansion attraction, each one at each park is a little bit different. It's my favorite attraction. That's what these tattoos are on my arm. This is the wallpaper
Flex. Look at that.
at the
Look at
Haunted
those
Mansion.
pythons.
Yeah, right. But everybody, calm down.
Oh, the phones are ringing off the hook.
Falafel Phil,
Waffle Phil and Fred Gwynn.
and Fred Gwynn. Yeah,
Gwynn.
you're going to Disney World. That's you
Here's
have
a
to
strange
drop off
observation,
letters
too.
and syllables. Yeah.
That's also the same guy who does the voice for Lobster Mania on the slot machines. That's Lobster.
Oh hell
Larry,
yes.
too.
That's
Yeah.
Lobster Larry. I'm not going to be able to play Lobster Mania the same again now without. I'm going to crack up every time.
I know you got to play it now just to hear that.
So Rob, they try to tell a story with these attractions. It's my favorite. It's great. You would probably actually think it's really neat, especially remember when I was explaining to you Pepper's Ghost when we were at the Oshkosh Grand, and I was
Okay.
showing you how that effect works, where you see the reflection in a pane of glass
I
with the
do
proper
remember that.
lighting. So that's one of the techniques they use to create ghosts. You can go on YouTube and watch a ride through, and you'll see it, and you'll get the gist of it. But they make the cues that you're waiting in to go into the attraction. Those are part of the story that they're telling you. So they're very well themed. So at Disney World, which is the better of the two attractions, in my opinion, that house is modeled after like a Hudson Valley style architecture. So it's very kind of brick and gothic and spooky looking. It's kind of set up on a hill. When you get into the queue for the attraction, you go through a cemetery that's part of the queue, and all the headstones, that's where the whole thing that you see now when you go to Spirit Halloween and there's a headstone and it said, "Here lays Larry. He got killed by a fairy." They have to do the rhyming thing like that. That's where all of that came from, is from Disney at the cemeteries you walk through for the Haunted Mansion. And at Disney World, on the exit queue of the attraction, up on a hill, there is a pet cemetery, and it's a little gated off area, and you see different statues or headstones of animals, and those all say something on it too. And it's very hard to read because it's kind of an Easter egg hidden thing. If you know to look for it, you can see it. And at the one at Magic Kingdom at Disney World is even better because there's another hidden Easter egg inside of the pet cemetery. For anybody who loved Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, myself included, when that attraction at Disney World at Magic Kingdom was closed for Winnie the Pooh, they actually, because the Imagineers have a sense of humor, they actually made a Mr. Toad statue for a headstone and put Mr. Toad into the pet cemetery that's at the Haunted Mansion. And the headstone, it says something like, Toad had to go because the bear sells merch or something like that. Basically giving a little, the Imagineers being a little cheeky, saying Mr. Toad had to go because Winnie the Pooh sells merchandise. So at Disneyland, it is a New Orleans style, plantation style mansion, and it's much less spooky on the outside. Walt always said, "We take care of the outside and the ghost will take care of the inside." So it's spooky inside of there. Um, but when you go through the queue at Disneyland, it's the same thing. It's not exactly the same as at Magic Kingdom. Um, but you're still going through a cemetery, and now, because they moved it, now when you're walking into the porch area of the mansion, it's to the left is where the pet cemetery is there. I don't know if they have any little in jokes in that one. I don't know that one as well, but when I think of a pet cemetery, I think of the movie or I think of those two things at Haunted Mansion. And it's funny that the ones at the Haunted Mansion attraction pop up as a haunted pet cemetery, which is a bigger question that I would ask is, if you were to just ask somebody in general about a pet cemetery, everything they probably know about them or their first reference is going to be the movie or the
I agree.
book.
Yep, yep, yep.
You know what I mean? Like, that's really
Oh, yeah,
wild when
I
you
agree
think about it,
100%.
that you keep waiting for, oh, there's this pet cemetery in this state, and it's the largest one, and it has this many thousand pets in it, and you're waiting for the part where the next thing you're gonna say, Rich, is it's the most haunted place in that city. Like, you're waiting for something like that to
Right,
come because
right,
you're expecting that
right,
only because of one piece of media, which is
right.
pretty
Which I
which is
think is
pretty crazy.
pretty far from the truth. Um,
Right.
Jenny says she's got a list, and Rob said he found a couple different things, and that's kind of what I found when I looked, but I couldn't find nothing concrete that they were kind of vague when, if I remember properly, they were kind of vague. That's why I didn't really bring them in this time. Plus, I couldn't find my notes for everything I wrote down, but um,
Well,
there
if
was
it makes you feel any better, Beej, it does say that while no ghosts seem to have been sighted, these pet cemeteries make the list because the fact they are located at Disneyland, which is creepy enough.
right.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I think some of the other ones were the same way. That when I looked them up, it was more the creep factor of the area of anything. It wasn't the one like I showed or I shared where it looks just like there's a highway on one side of the fence, and it just looks like a regular cemetery. Makes it a little less creepy. I would assume. And we've been to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery down in Illinois. That one's kind of creepy. You know, I didn't get any weird feelings from there. I
Hmm.
didn't get anything evidence wise either, but there's lots of people that have had experiences. but that's a creepy one. That's off the beaten path. That one reminds me of a Pet Cemetery, just because of how it is, how it's set up, and how you got to get to it, and
Yeah, I
the
see
way it's
that.
set up. You know, but yeah, the movie was all right. I didn't watch the other one. I'm gonna probably try to watch them, I guess, just to refresh my memory. I don't remember what part 2
You
was.
don't have to.
I know I don't have to.
Spoiler alert, you don't have to.
Yeah, no, I don't have to. But I mean, it's got to be a little interesting. They made a part 2, right?
No.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, you
Don't
don't really have
forget
to
it.
watch them.
Part 8.
There was a stretch there where anything that Stephen King had his name on was done to death.
Well, what's the movie Christine? That's not a Stephen King, right? That's the
Yes,
other
it
guy.
is.
No, that's a Stephen King. That's a good one.
The movie is, who's the other guy? Wes Craven. Look it up. It's Wes Craven, I believe. It's not. I think King did the novel.
He
Yes,
did,
he did the
yeah.
novel, but Stephen
movie
King
is,
it's John
he sells the
Carpenter.
titles to the
Carpenter, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, he sells the titles to the movie theaters or the movie, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The movie companies, and that he lets them do whatever he wants with them. That's why I don't know. I don't do a lot of reading, but I've never been able to make it very far into a Stephen King, and I've tried a few.
yeah. Because I wanted to see how much involvement he had, but I mean, you're still got the John Carpenter hype at that point in '83 when that comes out,
Mm-hmm.
and that was kind of right at that whole time frame where that's exactly what Stephen King was doing. It was just he would license out any of those titles and then just let them go, and they were making everything.
That was
Which
actually a joke that Stephen King made about the Lawnmower Man. He said the only similarity between his book and the movie was that there was a lawn in it. That was something
yes,
he actually said that. It's a quote from him.
Sorry, he's not listening no more anyway.
Not anymore. He shut the
No,
show
he's
off.
gone.
It was like,
he might be. He might
All
want
right.
to know what we say next.
Yeah, well,
pick
so
a car wreck.
I'm going to be
Wait.
more vigilant when I'm driving and I see things and pay attention to see if I ever come across something that looks like a pet cemetery or is marked that way. Because I'd be interested in checking one out. Now that we know a little bit more about them. I don't know that they're creepy. I don't know that they're haunted. It's just something that I don't think the regular person just thinks about. And for us during Scaretober, I figured that was something, let's inject a little bit of pets into this. And then I figured we could talk about the movie just a little bit. And since we're doing movie reviews, so thriller.
I feel like it's
Thriller
interesting
movie?
because of this. Oh, is Pet Cemetery a
Yeah,
thriller?
what do you call it? Because it's not
It's
really
a horror movie. You got
what?
things
It's a
coming
horror.
back from the dead.
Yeah, it's a horror movie. They were
So-
showing us horrific things in it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Okay, so you got most like horror movies or whatever. You got Jason's the guy, Michael Myers is the guy. Who's the guy in this one? Nobody. Just the
No,
cemetery.
it's like the
Wendigo, right?
Poltergeist is a horror movie, and you got the cemetery here.
Yeah.
A
Yeah, I
guy
guess
shouldn't have
the
buried his
cemetery
kid
is
in
the
there,
guy.
and
Yeah, I say because you can't
Yeah.
really say there's one evil entity in the movie, right?
it's
not like that.
the cemetery is the
Cemetery itself, yeah.
Well,
Ancient
that is
burial
the
ground
entity.
or
was it
whatever.
wasn't the Wendigo the whole thing that was that put the curse on the Pet Cemetery?
The Wendigo did?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen the movie in forever, so I can't remember that.
No, it was. I'm looking up right now. What was the
It would have been cooler if the Wendigo was in the movie.
Micmac?
Yeah, well, that's the tribe.
Yeah, but I don't know
The Micmac
Wendigo.
tribe.
Micmac are is the Indians.
Yep. But
a Wendigo, yes, would do that. Yes, that in sci-fi culture of creatures, Wendigo would fall into that category. Yes.
yeah, if it's
Hey,
So
we
I
did
could,
a
I,
they did a
89.
remake of Pet Cemetery
yep,
and the sequel,
yep,
1989, plus the new one, Bloodlines.
yeah. So there's a few there to dabble in.
Well, Bloodlines is rocking up the 4.7 out of 10 on IMDb.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'd have to watch it again to hear what actually was said during that time.
Yeah, I thought
I
that there
don't
was
remember.
mention. I thought there was mention of the Wendigo with the Mackinac, with
I don't
with
remember.
the tribe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see that here anywhere where I'm looking for that.
Pet
We watched the movie
Cemetery.
this morning, but I don't remember exactly. I remember when he was taking him back there and he was explaining to him the story of everything. I don't remember what was said. So
Oh, maybe it was in the 2019 one
could be,
where
could be.
they
Maybe they use that
where
instead.
they get into it.
Could be,
Oh, I wonder if
could be. I
that
don't
might be
remember that.
what I'm
I don't remember
thinking.
that one. I mean, I remember watching it. I think I don't know if we saw it at movie theater or not,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was. I don't know. I
Yeah, I
don't
think I'm
remember
thinking of the
leaving
2019
thinking
one.
it was horrible, but I guess I really don't remember if it followed the same storyline, um, you know, verbatim or not. But
Yeah.
I gotta imagine they're probably veered off somewhere. Some of those remakes do that. You'll get
Yeah,
bits and
I think it
pieces of the
was
original, but then they kind of go their
I'm
own route.
thinking 2019 put it in there and because it's
Could
been a
be.
while. I think that's what they did is they
Yeah.
added that in there and then it makes more sense with what you're saying that
Yeah,
we
it was
have to
the
have it
tribe that
fill in for
supposedly the
yeah.
ground is no good. So what's the best thing to do? Bury people there.
Sometimes death is better. Yeah.
there are far worse things than death.
I have other
Mhm.
questions though for in that movie. A couple observations.
Go ahead.
That house burned for probably 24 hours, and all those speeding trucks. Not one person called the fire department. The
Oh
house burned,
god, all the speeding
Trucks kept just
trucks.
going by.
right? I mean, the one angle the house is fully engulfed. The next one, the sun's coming up. It's not fully engulfed anymore. The house is pretty much gone. Yet there's a truck just going up and down the road.
Sure.
Well, you got to
You just
think
let
there's
that thing
probably
burn.
no fire hydrant out there.
So, well,
They probably just let it burn.
I'm sure they did.
But from what I can tell is all those trucks going back and forth, they were very busy in that movie.
Yeah,
It was a busy street. Those trucks have fucking business. They're not stopping for anything. And if you haven't seen the movie, I
Except
won't
for
spoil it.
Rachel.
They don't stop
Except
for shit.
Rachel. Well, all she had to do was put her thumb up and the
oh
truck
yeah. She
stopped.
hitchhiked in, and one of them picked her up. Which that was kind
But
of a
look,
strange twist in the movie. There was a couple things there that
yeah,
were, you know,
well, don't be a little kid because the trucks ain't stopping for
They
you.
don't. They ain't messing around,
They're
little kids.
busy. Yeah, so I can see a fire not slowing them down. They're busy.
yeah, they're busy guys. Um, Other than that, I don't know. It was an okay movie. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. I don't think we gave anybody any spoilers. I think by now a movie that came out in 1989 or whatever is you know, run its course. So, but anything else, guys?
I got nothing.
Nope.
No, I'm very surprised that the topic of a pet cemetery was so benign because I didn't know. My whole thing is even if in the movie, if you've seen the movie, you know it's not really the pet cemetery, but I think because of that, like if you were to tell somebody, "Oh, we're going to the pet cemetery," they would automatically think it's spooky,
Sure.
all because of that. When in reality, there's nothing even to that. It's just a nice thing for people to remember their pets.
Yeah, and I think that at some point in time it was also like a requirement I seem to recall reading an article talking about how in different countries they would just throw animals, like discard them. And there were actual rules or regulations that were put up to say you can't do that anymore. You have to find a dedicated spot to be able to put your dead animals. And so it could have been for a number of reasons, but that's obviously changed through the years because
Yeah.
if you're like trying to bury crocodiles and hippos, like the Egyptians, they probably had a different reason than the people that are paying $2,000 for a little plot to be able to put their loved one, because it's their family member and they want to be able to go back and visit the headstone, totally different. I think what it started at is a lot different than what we have now.
I agree.
Yep, but I'd still like to visit one just to check it out.
Yeah.
We'll have to make a field trip to Vernon Hills.
I wouldn't be against that. We
Little
we
day
do
trip.
have we
Get
we
some
do we are
love.
going to be busy the rest of this year though. It sounds like
Oh
so.
yeah.
We got
Don't
lots
be
of
too
things.
cold to be busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of things planned, and everybody stay tuned for that. Obviously, you can get a hold of us at connectedrealm@gmail.com. You can visit us on our Facebook page. Find our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google, Amazon Music, I think.
Yes.
I don't know, Stitcher, I think at one point. We
Pretty much anywhere you can
any
get your
place.
podcast.
Yeah, just search The Realm, it'll pop up. Every Monday we bring you episodes of different topics like Pet Cemeteries or
More movie
ghosts.
reviews.
Yes, we do movie. We got into that a little bit more. So on those Mondays, you're going to hear a full episode. On Wednesdays, we always put out a weird weekly news. This month of Scaretober, we've been doing movie reviews of some scary thriller, horror, terror movies that from the past. Nothing new, I don't think. We talked about a couple from the
No, is
80s,
it
stuff like that.
Shazam and Showgirls? Is that the two that we did? They're
What?
like Showgirls was last week, and Shazam was the one before.
I like Shazam.
Shazam.
Oh, okay. I thought it was pretty horrific.
Which one are you referring to?
Both of them. It's a joke. I think it was. I think one of those is what Jamie Kennedy uses in Scream when somebody asks him what his scary movie. Oh no, I think it was in part 2 when they ask what his scary movie is. He says Showgirls. It was terrifying.
Yeah, he does. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
And I think somebody else does Shazam. I think that might have been that might have been in one of the scary movies. There was one where they did kind of the same joke.
Oh, so you're not talking about superheroes?
No, I was talking about, or was it? Oh no, shit! What was there a Shazam with Shaquille O'Neal?
Oh yeah, Shaquille O'Neal.
That one.
That one.
Yeah, that one is the one because this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a scary movie. They said
it could have been when they parodied
that, and they said Shazam, and that would have been before any of the new ones. Yeah, the Shaquille O'Neal Shazam. We're dating ourselves now. For anybody who doesn't know that happened.
I think. Let's see. We got scary stories coming up. I think we have some other stuff coming up for the rest of this month, which really we're getting down there. We're only going to probably have a couple more episodes, and then we're going to be back to our normal podcast. So
normal business hours.
Yeah, if you guys got any suggestions, any topics you want us to discuss, once again, you can email us at connectedrealm@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us on Facebook. You also see that TRPD, the Realm Paranormal Detectives, are also on that Facebook page, and we do have some stuff coming up we're excited about. And when we do our investigations, we will always come on and have a dedicated episode to that location to let you know what we found, what we didn't find, and kind of give you our take on the whole experience of the location. So
yeah, we are doing an investigation next weekend at the Boyd House is it in Boyd?
Boyd, Minnesota.
Boyd, Minnesota. And if you can't make it out to Minnesota with us, or at least go on to Facebook. We'll do some Facebook Live. But if you're in the Kenosha area, you can come see Gina and some of the other members of the Realm and our TRPD at the Kenosha Awakening Spiritual Market, October 28th at 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And I believe that's at Rhodey's, right? Rhodey's Theater
I believe so. Yes.
in downtown Kenosha. Oh, there it is. Rhodey Center for the Arts at 514 56th Street, Kenosha, Wisconsin.
All right. Hope to see everybody get out there. You won't see me.
Yeah.
You won't see Rob, myself, or Jenny. We'll be on
Or
location.
Amy. Oh, wait, she's not here.
Brian will
No,
be.
you'll be seeing this guy.
You'll be seeing Brian there. He'll be
Yeah.
there with
Sorry,
Gina.
everybody.
We're sorry about that. But
Sorry.
And I think it's a cool idea of what we're gonna do. We've never been a part of that or done anything like that before. So doing that live stream, and then maybe we'll have some fun stuff to tell everybody from the first night
that'd be
there.
great.
That we'll have a list of stuff for Brian to start dissecting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I'm hoping for anyway. But that's going to be awesome.
Sweet.
So thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Once again, this is Rich. Gina was taking care of some business, so she was not with us tonight. She'll be back next week. And who else we got down there that needs to say goodbye?
I'm Rob.
Jenny.
See you guys.
See you later.
Adios, people.
See you guys.
Bye.
Arrivederci.